Yeah, if I could just get you guys to go ahead and rewire that panel for me, that would be great. Today is gonna be a good day because I went to bed last night at 7 p.m. woke up at 6 a.m. and man, I really needed that sleep. It was busy last couple weeks, been working pretty well around the clock, and Sunday I was out working, finishing up, I think it was around 8 p.m. and car accident call. The car crashed through the pole, kept on going, somehow made a 90-degree turn through, I don't know what keeps beeping there, through the guy's porch, into his foundation, and the front end of the car was hanging down into his basement. It was wild. Nobody got hurt. I'm not going to show a picture of the car. It was just a young 16-year-old girl driving. So here's a picture of the basement. Anyways, but we're getting our computer booted up. We're going to go grab a coffee. We are starting bright and early at 7 a.m. right now. We are heading to the terminal to put a transmission line onto one shot. We're just going to hold off for our transmission line crew. They're going to be working out in the field, and we'll bring you guys along for the ride. So just a quick pit stop while we're heading out to the terminal. This behind me is a substation. A substation is where our transmission lines, you can see we've got 2 transmission lines overhead, 138,000 volts, where they come down into a power transformer, get stepped down to 12,470 or 7,200 volts phase to ground, and distribute out into the community. One thing I've always wanted to ask you guys, especially in other countries, what we call the terminals is where the transmission lines meet up with other transmission lines. So rather than a 138 being transferred down to distribution level, we'll have a 345,000 volt transformed down into, say, 138, which is these lines here. So it's basically like the highway system of the power grid as opposed to the streets and roads in your community. What do you guys call a terminal? My understanding is a lot of jurisdictions call them switchyards, so substations and switchyards. Let me know down in the comments. Always been curious about that. Mention even where you're from, where you're, what state you work in. I'm pretty sure most of you guys call these substations, but those great big switchyards. Does anyone else use the term terminal, or do y'all call them switchyards? I don't know. Anyways, let me know. We gotta get rolling here and head off to our terminal. Alright guys, we are here. Looks like somebody else is here too. That gate isn't usually open. So just while we're heading in, one thing I'll mention, a lot of people ask me for tips for apprentice linemen, any advice, and my answer is always the same. The biggest advice, guys, is to look after yourself. And what I mean by that is look after your body, use the tools and equipment that are provided to you. If you're always doing heavy lifting instead of using the mechanical, using the boom, the jib, stretching out too far, you're gonna end up with injuries over the duration of your career. So that being said, I do want to give a quick shout out to my good friend Araceli. Currently she's located in Montreal, Canada, and she was helping me out quite a bit with a kind of training that's quite different from anything that I've seen. We always say, you know, it's good to hit the gym and to work out and to do your stretches every morning, and she does what's called hyperpressive and melt, which focuses on, I don't know if stimulating your fascia is the right word, or stretching or massaging, I don't know, but I will leave a link into her channel. It's some really interesting stuff. It's helped me out a lot with releasing tension on your fascia and breathing techniques, posture correcting stuff. Anyways, check it out. guys, real great girl that's got some really neat techniques to help keep your body in good shape, good health to do this kind of work. So you can see right off the bat, this is quite a bit different than a substation, quite a bit larger. We've seen it in videos many times now. These places, they're pretty high security, so I'm on camera right now. They know when we're arriving, when doors are opened, every bit of activity. I mentioned in videos a few times that when we arrive to these locations, some of the first steps we gotta do, we gotta contact our dispatcher or power system operator before entering. So we've already done that, and the second thing we do is a perimeter check. Make sure that copper theft is a huge, I got the sun right in my eyes here, but copper theft, it's a huge problem nowadays. So if there's any holes in the fence, anything, we can't go in there and start operating equipment if the integrity of any of our equipment has been compromised. So we have to do a quick check on that. Sorry guys, I'm distracted. I got a message from the office here. Just picked up another work order. It's gonna be another busy day. So we're gonna go unlock that gate. Man, the drive up here, it's before 8 o'clock still, so there was kids all along the road waiting to get picked up by the bus. If anybody that works for International, that's what my truck is, an International. You know when you're a kid and a big truck drives by and everyone's doing this so you can blow your air horn? Guys, put an air horn on my truck next time. That's embarrassing. This is my horn. Meet. I drive by, the kids are doing this, and I give them the beep beep. It sounds like a little Geo Metro car or something. Kind of embarrassing. But anyways, so we're gonna head over, get that gate opened up. So our perimeter check, pretty easy here. I can get the truck around the whole yard. That's a 345,000 volt transformer on our left. We've got some PTs and lightning arresters coming off the 345 kV line there. Everything in this upper yard is 345,000 volts. Basically, I'm just checking for any holes in the fence right now and doing a quick visual around the yard as we go here. What we see in front of us now, that's just a distribution feed, 12,000 volts coming in to feed the pad mount transformer, which we'll see coming up on our left. So that's just to feed some station service, basically, of the yard here. It's important for those of you that missed the video I posted probably 3 years ago, that when you're driving around the terminal, switchyard, substation, you never get any closer to any of the lines than the length of the insulators. I'll show you what I mean as we make this corner here. So my truck, it's 11 feet tall. We can see the marks in the gravel. They pass right in through here. That's from the guys that are driving the pickup truck. So if we look at those insulators on the right hand side, those are about 9 feet off the ground. So the height of my truck will violate the clearance of what that insulator is already giving. So you don't want to drive a boom truck underneath that. That's 345,000 volts. So we're just gonna turn around here. You want to keep the clearances for 345 kV lines is 20 feet for the general public. So just kind of backtracking here, and we'll go down and cover the other side of the yard, the 138 kV side. So basically those 345 kV lines, there's multiple redundancies here, so if we lose a line or we lose a power transformer, everything can be swapped over to the other line. And so those 345 lines, they travel basically from city to city. it gets stepped down to the 138 kV, and then the 138 kV heads off into the cities and bounces basically from substation to substation. So we can see on the right the 345 kV transformer as it stepped down. We got some 138 kV overhead lines heading over to our 138 kV switchyard. The only exception is this one directly in front of me. It's 230,000 volts. That brownish green colored transformer steps that down again to 138. There's multiple, I think there's like 12 different circuits in this terminal. So it's very easy to do switching here to drop and pick up other lines. For that reason also, I won't be able to, a lot of times I'll show the conversation with our dispatcher as I'm doing the switching. In terminals we can't do that because there's almost like a stock market of buying and selling power between different provinces and states. So it can affect that market if I go online saying, hey, we're working on this specific line, or this line's going to be down, or even regular maintenance issues. It's just stuff I got to be very careful with what I share. Everything looks good so far. I'm not surprised. These yards now are very, very heavily monitored. So if there was anyone in here, chances are I would have known about it within a few minutes, even in the middle of the night. Duct reactors front there, and this is our other 345 kV transformer. Just make sure that gate is all locked up. Everything looks good, so now I'll be able to head inside. All the switching we're going to be doing today is going to be inside our secure building. Our monitoring company must have a good laugh when I'm capturing some coverage inside these terminals. Alright. If you guys ever have to do switching in a place like this and you're not familiar with the area, look at the wire behind me feeding all the panels. And there's a lot of them. There's something like 75 panels in here. Do not do anything that you are not 100% sure of. Always ask. Even a lot of our certified guys to this day will call a second man if they're not familiar with the area. So I'm going to give my power system operator a call, and I'll be able to show you guys a little bit of what I'm doing here and why, but I won't be able to record the conversation. Okay, so I will show you guys this a little bit. So when I install the tags, basically says do not operate, live line work in progress, and the information on our tags, we've got a hold off number. So if anyone is ever in here, they can reference that hold off number with the power system operator and find out exactly what's going on the lines. The hold off holder's name, so that won't be by myself, that won't be my name, that's going to be the crew that's out working on the line. They're a long ways from here. Transmission lines, the hold off holder or the permit holder doesn't have to do the actual switching. It's not something typical of, say, doing electrical work in a commercial building. Where our work area is so large, the hold off holder can give me authorization to operate the switches. So that's where installed by, that's going to be the operator date and time, and installed on which breaker or recloser. Reason for that is a few years ago we came in the door here and there was a tag that fell off on the floor, so now we're sure to actually put the breaker recloser number on it. I think I don't want to show you guys any of those tags there, so there's a bit of mapping here where there's some breaker control handles. So these breaker control handles, you can actually trip out the line. It shows the status. Like this one, for example, is closed. This guy here is open. What we got to do where there's a hold off on the line, and what a hold off is, it's the line won't reclose in the event of a trip. So anytime we're doing rubber glove work or live line work, regardless if it's an incident with the crew on site, or maybe an animal got into the line 100 miles away, maybe not 100 miles, but that line will trip out. So back on that first panel, I'm gonna tag any of the breakers that are associated with those lines. Anytime any of our guys operate a breaker, we have to do so with permission from our power system operator. It's a very, very serious offense. You probably lose your job if you operate one without calling in. So there's that, and then on top of that, if another crew shows in here when the line trips, they're not going to operate anything, but also any of the breakers that can affect crews out in the line are going to be tagged. So they'll see right off the bat, this line tripped, I'm not going to close that in because there's a crew out there. Maybe there was an incident. But again, that's just a redundancy in protection. Something else we added also is, I can't even move it. These magnets right here, they're very, very strong magnets, so I will clip the tag right onto that. They are removable magnets, so that there's, like I said, there's 75 panels. There's a lot of stuff going on in here, so we can move them around. We used to just kind of zip tie the tags to it, but then the zip ties didn't always work, so just something else we came up with. I'm going to finish filling out these tags, and we'll show you guys the reclosing here in a minute. A little bit of work, ongoing work going on in here. Yeah, if I could just get you guys to go ahead and rewire that panel for me, that would be great. All right, so we are at our panel with the reclosing control. So it's currently, this is an older setup. A lot of it now is all automated. It's got riggins like that as opposed to these old school relays, but not 100% converted yet. So reclosing is on. If the line trips, it will automatically close back in. We want to turn that to off. So very simple task. We literally take that handle. We want to confirm. I always say when you're doing switching, you find your location. Right before actually moving the switch, you want to confirm again. Always double check. So I'm going to confirm the line number again. We're at the right location. And we have our reclosing shut off. Simple as that. So we install our tag, do not operate, confirm once again. Now I gotta call my power system operator back and report my steps. All right guys, so we've got our steps reported to our power system operator. Make sure I got my keys. And when I mentioned, you heard the dinging on my computer there, that was the office shooting me some messages. One of our guys isn't coming in until noon today. He had a job assigned to him where he had to meet an electrician to work inside a pad mount. So she asked if I could head that way. Before that call come in, I've got a contractor crew digging right over top of our Trans-Canada Highway. I've got to head out there and mark out some underground lines. It's gonna be a busy day. Then I gotta switch a substation in this afternoon. So we're gonna hit the road, and if we see anything interesting that I have an opportunity to capture for you all, I will certainly do that. Until then, be safe guys. Thanks for stopping in, and we'll see y'all soon.